The stars above shimmered quietly, hiding the truth behind their beauty. Somewhere beyond the edge of Earth's solar system, a fleet of alien ships floated in perfect formation. These ships belonged to the Zorvani Ascendancy, one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. For hundreds of years, the Zorvani had expanded from star to star, claiming planets with cold precision. They believed in numbers, logic, and patterns. They believed emotions were weaknesses, and now Earth was just another number on their long list of conquests. Stargate 491Z. The Zorvani didn't expect resistance. Earth was unshielded, with no space defense grid, no planetary cannons, no warp drive. From their view, humans were primitive, emotional, and disorganized. The invasion was supposed to take a few hours, at most. They sent their scout probes first, small, silent machines designed to slip into orbit, scan the surface, and send back data. But something strange happened. One of the first probes vanished without a trace. It didn't crash, didn't explode. It simply stopped sending data. The Zorvani thought it was a glitch. They sent 2 more probes. Both vanished. A third probe managed to send a final picture, a blurry image of a wide forest covered in fog. Then silence. The commanders grew curious, but not worried. After all, Earth had no technology capable of taking down a cloaked Zorvani drone. Perhaps it's interference, one officer said. Too much atmosphere or magnetic noise. Deep down, a quiet question was forming in their minds. What if Earth wasn't what it seemed? On Earth, the skies were clear. People went about their lives, unaware of the silent threat floating above them. But not everyone was in the dark. Dr. Lena Reyes, a quiet radio astronomer working late one night in Chile, noticed something strange. Her telescope array picked up unfamiliar signals, too regular to be natural, but too chaotic to be human-made. She leaned forward, frowning. "What are you?" she whispered, adjusting the frequency. The pattern danced and shifted like it was alive. Lena saved the data and contacted a small research team in Geneva. What started as a small suspicion turned into a quiet alarm. Within hours, Earth's hidden global network, the United Nations Space Intelligence Alliance UNSHA, was activated. UNSHA didn't make noise. It didn't launch missiles. It listened. It calculated. And most importantly, it planned. The world's leaders were alerted secretly. Instead of fear, they responded with something unexpected. Calm, unity. No country argued. No politician hesitated. For the first time in history, all nations agreed on one thing: Earth must remain free. While the people of Earth continued their lives, a silent preparation began. Old Cold War satellites were rebooted. Underground data centers came to life. Civilian programmers were hired secretly. Artists, philosophers, gamers, and scientists were brought together not to fight, but to confuse, mislead, and outthink the enemy. The Zorvani probes returned more confused than before. Their data didn't match. One probe said Earth had 20 major nations. Another said it had over 200. One reported that humans worshipped one god. Another said thousands. One found peace movements. Another found war games. The Zorvani AI tried to process the data, but it failed. Unstable culture, it reported. Inconsistent patterns. Emotional noise too high. From their perspective, Earth was chaotic, unpredictable, and weak. But from Earth's view, this chaos was its strength. Meanwhile, Lena Reyes sat alone in her observatory, staring at the stars. She felt no fear, only wonder. "They're watching us," she whispered to the sky. "But we're watching them too." Above, hidden by darkness, the Zorvani fleet waited for orders. They prepared their compliance message, a standard transmission used to tell civilizations to surrender peacefully. If Earth refused, they would begin the next phase shutdown of major cities using orbit-based dampeners. But Earth didn't respond. Earth was silent. The Zorvani grew impatient. "Why is there no communication?" one commander asked. "Why no panic?" There was no answer, but Earth's silence was not from fear. It was from confidence. From the forests of Canada to the deserts of Africa, humans were working together, like never before. They weren't soldiers. They were thinkers, dreamers, builders. And they had one goal: protect Earth no matter what. The countdown to invasion had started. But Earth wasn't a helpless target. It was something the galaxy had never seen before. The sun rose gently over the Andes, casting golden light across the snowy peaks. Dr. Lena Reyes stood alone near her telescope dome, her hands gripping a mug of warm tea. Her eyes were tired, but her heart was steady. She had not slept since. The strange signals began. Something in her soul whispered that Earth's time of peace was being tested. Yet she felt no panic-only purpose. Far from the observatory, deep inside an underground command center beneath Geneva, the secretive group called United Nations Space Intelligence Alliance was fully awake. The room buzzed with quiet. Focus. Scientists, data analysts, AI experts, and cultural historians worked side by side. No one shouted. No one wasted a moment. There was no time for confusion. They had one clear mission: understand the enemy. Prepare the Earth. Avoid destruction. On a massive holographic screen, rotating 3D images of the Zorvani fleet hovered. The scouts had returned. The probes had been tracked. They knew something was watching Earth from orbit. But no enemy message had been sent yet. That meant they still had time. "We are not going to fight them in space," said Director Ajay Varma, the calm Indian strategist leading the Earth-wide preparation. "We'll win this battle with brains, unity, and unpredictability."
Around
him, teams went to work. In Japan, language experts began decoding the strange static interference that came from the sky. They didn't try to block it. They studied it and responded back in silent bursts of poetic symbols the Zorvani A's couldn't make sense of. In Brazil, digital artists began creating simulations of cities that didn't exist complete. With fictional infrastructure, fake weapon systems, and fake command centers, these illusions were then streamed into space through microwave bursts. Zorvani scanners picked up signals of high-energy surges near Antarctica and in the Amazon rainforest, but nothing real was there. The aliens saw a picture of Earth that was no longer true because humans had started to paint a different story. In Nigeria, quantum coders built shifting signal shields that moved across frequencies like fireflies, changing patterns. The Zorvani's data mining systems failed repeatedly, their AI constantly chasing ghosts. Meanwhile, Lena Reyes was invited to speak with a small team of cultural interpreters in Switzerland. She wore her usual jeans and sweater, unsure what to expect. Inside, she met a strange mixan opera composer, a child psychologist, a Buddhist monk, a stand-up comedian, and a retired chess grandmaster. "What do we do?" Lena asked softly. The opera composer smiled. "We show them what humanity is, but in a way they can't calculate." The monk nodded. "They believe we are simple, that we fear chaos. But chaos is where humans grow strongest." For the first time, Lena truly understood. This was no longer a fight for survival. This was a performance, a beautiful, strange, brilliant dance of human imagination against alien logic. Back in space, the Zorvani fleet floated silently, still watching, still waiting. Their long-range scanners tried to map Earth's defenses, but every new scan brought a new answer. One AI report read, "Multiple Earth militaries. Nuclear presence, unstable command structures." The next scan read, "Planet-wide peace movement. No active military coordination." Another read, "Earth's people may not be biological, possibly synthetic emotional avatars." Confusion grew. Zorvani Commander Zelion paced inside his silver chamber. He was older, wise by Zorvani standards, and deeply frustrated. Their species behaves like particles in quantum fog. Every time we observe, they change. Every time we analyze, they break the rules. His second-in-command replied, "They do not obey logic. They obey something else. They're hiding something," Zelion hissed. Yes, Earth was hiding something. It was hiding its unity. For once, there were no borders. Scientists in the USA shared findings with teachers in South Korea. Kenyan mathematicians worked alongside German engineers. Indian storytellers taught emotional symbolism to roboticists in Moscow. The Earth was becoming one mind, one heart, and one mission. And still, Earth said nothing to the stars. No warning, no threat, just silence. But it was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of a planet sharpening its tools. It was the calm before something powerful. The stars above Earth glittered peacefully, but something dark had entered their gentle dance. A massive fleet of alien ships, sleek, silent, and silver, slipped into the shadow of the moon. They did not come to greet. They came to conquer. Zorvani fleet had finally arrived. From far-off space, they had traveled with full confidence, expecting another easy mission. After all, they had done this hundreds of times before. Find a planet, scan it, send a warning, wait for surrender. If no response came, disable power grids and communication, then claim the planet without war. Earth to them was no different. Just another green and blue marble in the sky. Beautiful, yes, but silent. Defenseless. Soft, but as their ships drifted into orbit, strange problems began. Commander Zelion, the leader of the Zorvani mission, stood tall on the bridge of the flagship. His eyes, sharp and glowing, watched the display screen as Earth spun below. "Initiate standard planetary broadcast," he ordered. A smooth voice from the AI responded. "Broadcast initialized. Target Planet 491Z." The message was simple. It carried a calm but commanding tone translated into multiple frequencies and data forms. It said, "You are now under Zorvani's ascendancy authority. Your cooperation is expected. Refusal will lead to immediate compliance operations." They waited for a reply. There was none. The AI tried again. Still silence. But then, something unexpected. HAPPENEDA, new signal burst through the communication channel short. Soft and completely strange. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a plea. It was laughter. Human laughter. And not just any laughter, it was a child's giggle. Followed by birdsong and the sound of ocean waves. The Zorvani bridge fell silent. "Replay," Zelion ordered. They played it again. And this time, more followed. The ringing of bells, the sound of fireworks, the music of violins. The AI began to stutter. Incoming data, corrupted. Or, no, not corrupted. Crafted. There is purpose in the noise. Commander Zelion clenched his jaw. They're mocking us. But no one could understand why. Earth systems, which should have been easy to penetrate, began to behave strangely. Every satellite they scanned was either offline or sending looping data. One image showed a city that didn't exist. Another showed a woman dancing under northern lights. Nothing made sense. "It's like they're showing us dreams," whispered one officer. At that moment, something even stranger happened. One of their recon drones, codenamed I-17, disappeared. Just gone. No explosion, no damage. 1 second it was scanning a forest in Canada, and the next nothing. Not even static. 2 more probes followed. It's lost in seconds. Commander Zelion grew cold. "Send in an observation drone swarm. We must understand what is happening." But when the swarm reached Earth's atmosphere, only a few returned. And those that did brought back strange recordings. One showed a group of humans staring up at the sky, holding mirrors that reflected sunlight directly at the drones. Another showed words spelled out in bright-colored chalk on a school playground. "We see you." The Zorvani AI flagged this as cultural aggression. But the humans were not aggressive. They were calm, confident. Earth wasn't defending with weapons. It was defending with mystery, back in the Unshar Command Center. Earth's top minds were smiling. "Phase 2 complete," said Director Ajay Varma. "They don't understand us. That's the point." Lena Reyes watched the probe data from Geneva. "We gave them too many truths and too many lies. Now they can't tell the difference." In different parts of the world, millions of people were still unaware. Children played. Markets opened. Trains moved. Life continued. But behind the scenes, humanity was fighting the most brilliant silent battle in its history, and Earth had already won the first round in orbit. The Zorvani commanders met in private. The plan was crumbling, and yet Earth had not fired a single shot. "We expected fear," said one officer. "But there is no panic." Commander Zelion looked at the planet again. Clouds moved slowly across the oceans. Lights blinked from cities. Music still played in the background feed. "They don't fear us," he said softly. "They expect us." He turned to his team. "We must adapt, prepare the fleet for surface disruption." But as the Zorvani moved forward, they didn't realize one thing. Earth had already entered their systems, and humanity's real defense was just beginning. Far above Earth, the mighty Zorvani fleet floated like silent sharks in space. They had waited for Earth to panic. They had expected war signals, surrender messages, or desperate cries. But Earth had given them something else. Confusion, Commander. Zelion stood still in front of the central screen. His glowing silver eyes watched the slow swirl of Earth's clouds. He was an experienced leader. He had conquered 29 planets. But never had he seen one like this. "They are not reacting," he said, puzzled. Beside him, the AI interface flickered. Latest scans showed disorganized surface activity. No weapon launches. No coordinated defense. He narrowed his eyes. "And yet our probes are failing. Our drones are not returning. Why?" The answer was not in space. It was down on Earth, inside a quiet underground center beneath Iceland. The UNSIA global team gathered around a large digital table. But this wasn't just a team of soldiers or scientists. It was a mix of dreamers. Thinkers, artists, coders, psychologists, and storytellers. Lena Reyes sat among them. Wearing a warm sweater and holding a notebook, around her were people from over 30 nations. Young and old, serious and joyful. Each one was there because they understood something the Zorvani never could. Human creativity had no pattern, Jay. Arma pointed at a map of Earth. "They use logic. We use imagination. Let's make sure they never find the center of our mind." He tapped a button, and dozens of new digital operations began. In South Korea, a group of video game developers released a fake online game called Sky Visitors. Within hours, Zorvani AI intercepted the data and mistook it for a real military simulation in Paris. Musicians created sound patterns that looked like encrypted war signals but were just jazz remixed with rainfall. In Kenya, a teenager named Elijah designed a digital painting with strange symbols and shared it on an art network. The Zorvani AI flagged it as a planetary warning symbol and began to panic. Everywhere, ordinary people became part of Earth's defense, not with weapons, but with ideas. In orbit, the Zorvani systems began to break. The AI assistant, Zelion's flagship, suddenly glitched. Warning. Data inconsistency. Cultural logic error. Unable to verify Earth's behavior. "What is this nonsense?" Zelion snapped. "Humans display no uniform pattern. Their responses are emotional, poetic, contradictory." The screen flashed images from Earth. Children laughing, people dancing in the rain, an old man planting a tree, students building robots, families singing around dinner tables. The AI trembled. There is no single Earth mind. There are billions, each one different, each one unpredictable. Commander Zelion was silent. He had believed humans were soft. He had believed emotion was weakness. But now, it looked like emotion was power. Back on Earth, Lena stared at a projection of the alien fleet. "They can't handle our minds," she whispered. "They came prepared for machines, but we're not machines." She opened her notebook and read an old quote by her grandmother. "A storm that you expect can be blocked. Change's direction can move through anything." She smiled. In Brazil, school children were taught to play with drone codes like puzzle games. Some of them managed to flip Zorvani command sequences with silly jokes written in binary. In Sweden, AI poets generated nonsense love letters and fed them into satellite feeds, creating chaos in the Zorvani's emotionless translation system. On the moon, even the Earth's lunar robot stations began to project shadow illusions across the surface, giant human shapes dancing under the stars. It was not war, it was pure, playful genius. The Zorvani ships, confused and overwhelmed, couldn't understand what was real. One officer turned to Commander Zelian. "Sir, we are surrounded by ideas." For the first time in his long career, Zelian had no answer. Below, Earth glowed with the light of cities. Not bombs, and the humans, those small, fragile beings, stood quietly under the stars, not afraid, not violent, just ready. The fleet had come to break Earth's body, but now they were facing Earth's soul.